Yen Yuan was asking about man's proper regard for his fellow man. The master said to him, self-control and a habit of falling back upon propriety virtually affect it. Let these conditions be fulfilled for one day, and everyone round will betake himself to the duty. Is it to begin in oneself, or think you, indeed, it is to begin in others? I wanted you to be good enough, said Yen Yuan, to give me a brief synopsis of it. Then said the master, without propriety use not your eyes. Without it use not your ears, nor your tongue, nor a limb of your body. I may be lacking in diligence, said Yen Yuan, but with your favor I will endeavor to carry out this advice. Footnote 1.
天下
The empire, the world, here to Le Monde. Zhongkong asked about man's proper regard for his fellows. To him the master replied thus, when you go forth from your door, be as if you were meeting some guest of importance. When you are making use of the common people for state purposes, be as if you were taking part in a great religious function. Do not set before others what you do not desire yourself. Let there be no resentful feelings against you when you are away in the country, and none when at home. I may lack diligence, said Zhongkong, but with your favor I will endeavor to carry out this advice. As Zimon Yu asked the like question, the answer he received was this: the words of the man who has a proper regard for his fellows are uttered with difficulty. His words uttered with difficulty, he echoed in surprise. Is that what is meant by proper regard for one's fellow creatures? Where there is difficulty in doing, the master replied, will there not be some difficulty in utterance? Footnote 1. Another disciple, each seems to have been answered according to his ability or character. The same disciple put a question about the superior man. Superior men, he replied, are free from trouble and apprehension. Free from trouble and apprehension, said he. Does that make them superior men? The master added, where there is found, upon introspection, to be no chronic disease, how shall there be any trouble? How shall there be any apprehension? The same disciple, being in trouble, remarked, I am alone in having no brother, while all else have theirs younger or elder. Zixia said to him, I have heard this one. Death and life have destined times. Wealth and honors rest with heaven. Let the superior man keep watch over himself without ceasing, showing deference to others, with propriety of manners, and all within the four seas will be his brethren. How should he be distressed for lack of brothers? Footnote 1. From Confucius, it is generally thought. Footnote 2. The supposed boundaries of the earth. But evidently, as in the Shiking, Book 4, verse 5.3, a meiosis for the empire. Zichong asked what sort of man might be termed enlightened. The master replied that a man with whom drenching slander and cutting calumny gain no currency may well be called enlightened. He with whom such things make no way may well be called enlightened in the extreme. Footnote 1. This is no proper answer, but it had doubtless reference to some circumstances unmentioned. Zikung put a question relative to government. In reply, the master mentioned 3 essentials: sufficient food, sufficient armament, and the people's confidence. But, said the disciple, if you cannot really have all 3, and one has to be given up, which would you give up first? The armament, he replied. And if you are obliged to give up one of the remaining 2, which would it be? The food, said he. Death has been the portion of all men from of old. Without the people's trust, nothing can stand. Qizixing once said, give me the inborn qualities of a gentleman, and I want no more. How are such to come from book learning? Zikung exclaimed. Sir, I regret to hear such words from you, a gentleman. But a team of 4 can ne'er overtake the tongue. Literary accomplishments are much the same as inborn qualities, and inborn qualities as literary accomplishments. A tiger's or leopard's skin without the hair might be a dog's or sheep's when so made bare. Footnote 1. A great officer of the state of Wei. Duke Guy was consulting you, Joe, said he. It is a year of dearth, and there is an insufficiency for ways and means. What am I to do? Why not apply the tithing statute, said the minister. But 2 tithings would not be enough for my purposes, said the Duke. What would be the good of applying the statute? The minister replied, so long as the people have enough left for themselves, who of them will allow their prince to be without enough? But when the people have not enough, who will allow their prince all that he wants? Footnote 1. A former disciple of Confucius, now a minister of Lu. Footnote 2. On the royal tents, see Shiking, Book 2.6.7. Zichong was asking how the standard of virtue was to be raised, and how to discern what was illusory or misleading. The master's answer was, give a foremost place to honesty and faithfulness, and tread the path of righteousness, and you will raise the standard of virtue. As to discerning what is illusory, here is an example of an illusion. Whom you love you wish to live. Whom you hate you wish to die. To have wished the same person to live, and also to be dead, there is an illusion for you. Duke King of Tsi consulted Confucius about government. His answer was, let a prince be a prince, and ministers be ministers. Let fathers be fathers, and sons be sons. Good, exclaimed the Duke. Truly, if a prince fail to be a prince, and ministers to be ministers, and if fathers be not fathers, and sons not sons, then, even though I may have my allowance of grain, should I ever be able to relish it? Footnote 1. That is, revenue or personal allowance from the state. The man to decide a cause with half a word, exclaimed the master, is Zilu. Zilu never let a night pass between promise and performance. Footnote 1. Zilu was now a magistrate. Footnote 2. Dr. Legg's rendering of
无素诺
is perhaps happier, never slept over a promise. In hearing causes, I am like other men, said the master. The great point is to prevent litigation. Zichong having raised some question about government, the master said to him, in the settlement of its principles be unwearied. In its administration see to that loyally. The man of wide research, said he, who also restrains himself by the rules of propriety, is not likely to transgress. Again, the noble-minded man makes the most of others' good qualities, not the worst of their bad ones. Men of small mind do the reverse of this. Qi Kong was consulting him about the direction of public affairs. Confucius answered him, a director should be himself correct. If you, sir, as a leader show correctness, who will dare not to be correct? Footnote 1.
正者正
There is evidently a play on the words. Qing, to direct or govern, is pronounced exactly like Qing, correct. Qi Kong, being much troubled on account of robbers abroad, consulted Confucius on the matter. He received this reply, if you, sir, were not covetous, neither would they steal, even were you to bribe them to do so. Footnote 1. This man had usurped the headship of the Qi family, and had carried off the child who was the rightful heir. Qi Kong, when consulting Confucius about the government, said, "Suppose I were to put to death the disorderly for the better encouragement of the orderly, what say you to that?" "Sir," replied Confucius, "in the administration of government, why resort to capital punishment? Covet what is good, and the people will be good. The virtue of the noble-minded man is as the wind, and that of inferior men as grass. The grass must bend when the wind blows upon it." Zicheng asked how otherwise he would describe the learned official who might be termed influential. "What, I wonder, do you mean by one who is influential?" said the master. "I mean," replied the disciple, "one who is sure to have a reputation throughout the country, as well as at home." "That," said the master, "is reputation, not influence. The influential man, then, if he be one who is genuinely straightforward and loves what is just and right, a discriminator of men's words, and an observer of their looks, and in honor careful to prefer others to himself, will certainly have influence, both throughout the country and at home. The man of mere reputation, on the other hand, who speciously affects philanthropy, though in his way of procedure he acts contrary to it, while yet quite evidently engrossed with that virtue, will certainly have reputation, both in the country and at home." Fan Chi, strolling with him over the ground below the place of the rain dance, said to him, "I venture to ask how to raise the standard of virtue, how to reform dissolute habits, and how to discern what is illusory." "Ah, a good question indeed," he exclaimed. "Well, is not putting duty first and success second a way of raising the standard of virtue? And is not attacking the evil in oneself, and not the evil which is in others, a way of reforming dissolute habits? And as to illusions, is not one morning's fit of anger, causing a man to forget himself, and even involving in the consequences those who are near and dear to him, is not that an illusion?" The same disciple asked him what was meant by a right regard for one's fellow creatures. He replied, "It is love to man." Asked by him again what was meant by wisdom, he replied, "It is knowledge of man." Fan Chi did not quite grasp his meaning. The master went on to say, "Lift up the straight, set aside the crooked, so can you make the crooked straight." Fan Chi left him, and meeting with Zixia, he said, "I had an interview just now with the master, and I asked him what wisdom was. In his answer he said, 'Lift up the straight, set aside the crooked, and so can you make the crooked straight.' What was his meaning?" "Ah, words rich in meaning, those," said the other. "When Shun was emperor, and was selecting his men from among the multitude, he lifted up Gao Yo, and men devoid of right feelings towards their kind went far away. And when Tong was emperor, and chose out his men from the crowd, he lifted up Yi Yin with the same result." Footnote 1.
人
Here the master is quite explicit in his reply. Footnote 2. See book to point 19. Footnote 3. The former was made minister of crime and controller of the frontier tribes, and it is chiefly to him that the glories of Shun's reign are attributed. The latter was Tang's prime minister, and he is spoken of as the destroyer of the He dynasty and founder of the Shang or Yin. Zikung was consulting him about a friend. "Speak to him frankly and respectfully," said the master, "and gently lead him on. If you do not succeed, then stop. Do not submit yourself to indignity." The learned saying observed, "In the society of books, the superior man collects his friends. In the society of his friends, he is furthering goodwill among men." Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more excellent content.